Ja, en soos gebruiklik hierdie tyd is dit Business Lunch with Coach Lindie. Lindie, goeiemiddag en welkom weer eens.
Goeiemiddag, van 'n warm ateljee na 'n baie koue wynlande sal ons sê, koud en nat.
Dis hy daai. And we also have Monique Labat, as I said earlier, she is from Monique Labat Consulting. Monique, good afternoon and welcome.
Hello listeners, and thanks very much for the opportunity.
Fantastic. Now, Lindie is the one that will have a chat to you, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Lindie.
Monique, welcome, and I was looking forward to today. I mean, I must say, you're one of those people just inspires me with, I think it is your infectious love for life, your laughter, and how you absolutely draw energy from meeting people of all sorts, and I suppose that's what you're about, Monique. So yeah, let's get into it. Now, Monique Labat Consulting. Maybe just as an intro, just tell the listeners what is Monique Labat Consulting about, and then of course I'm going to ask you, where did it all start for you?
Lindie, thanks very much again for the opportunity, and I've got to thank ActionCOACH because moving down here 2 years ago was not obvious, and the networks that you've provided at ActionCOACH for myself have been phenomenal. And as a person, I think reaching out and engaging with individuals, with groups, with people has been a real pleasure to me. I enjoy the networks, so it was a natural progression for me to use that as my business base, using the skills that I have in order to leverage and do something that I love doing every day of my life, which is networking at business-to-business linkages.
So what does it actually mean for a business owner out there? You leverage networks and you provide linkages, the right English word. And I think in essence what I see you do is you link people with people, businesses with business, bridging and connecting and unlocking opportunity to do business on a broader scale. Am I right?
Exactly. Businesses are comprised of human beings, of individuals, of teams, and sometimes they need a new network in which to work with. They may need clients, they may need a new supplier, they may need a buyer or a distributor, and in essence that's what I do. And if I could give you a little example.
Yes, please.
For the island of Mauritius, where I was born, hence my French speaking as well as English speaking languages, there are delegations, inward buying missions and trade missions that come not only from Mauritius but from Reunion Island as well, and they're either looking to offer a range of products that are manufactured in the islands, or they are looking for products manufactured in South Africa, and they want to be able to be networked and linked between the manufacturer and the buyer, between the buyer and the importer. And in essence, my role is to first research, because you want to have the correct fit. You know, in business,
important.
There are cultures, and one needs to ensure that the culture of the business and the ethos of the business works with what you're trying to achieve in doing a linkage or an import or an export, or even sharing of technology at the end of the day. Purchasing of technology in order to be able to set up a new factory line or something along those lines.
And I definitely, Christy, want to come back to what Monique is saying about you doing the research in order to make sure that this is a connection that could possibly bear fruit for either party. So we'll get back to that. But Monique, I want to really take you back to French-speaking, English-speaking, born in Mauritius, colorful person you are. So how did it all start? I mean, what happened for you to be doing this amazing work that you obviously love? How did that come about?
So my parents brought my sister Geneviève and I to South Africa when we were little girls, and we grew up on the south coast of KwaZulu-Natal, and Mum and Dad insisted that we speak French at home, and to this day I'm eternally grateful to them.
Of course.
Because having another language, greeting somebody else in their home language, even if you just make an attempt, suddenly you see the person that you're greeting, the face beams with a smile, and there's that immediate connection, that human connection. So languages are really important to me, and it's also important to be able to understand the culture. So coming across from Mauritius, where we have multiple cultures, multiple peoples, has also meant that it's helped me on my foodie journey, and I've really enjoyed promoting Mauritian food. I give food demos across at Hirsch's and Somerset West, for example. I've written and self-published my own cookbook, and Mauritius is a colourful island, and its fusion of ingredients, of foods and of peoples lends to the colour, and I think along the years I've been able to absorb and share that with others as well.
And so that is amazing, and of course I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that as well. But how did you end up? And I know that in KZN you were also involved in promoting Durban as an investment location, and also linkages with the World Trade Point Federation conferences and things. So where did that link happen for you? When did you understand that, hey, wait a minute, I can be a catalyst in connecting people in a business conversation? Oh, are we going to come back straight after
I think straight after the song, then we'll come back with that.
Okay, so Monique, think about that, because I'm interested to understand what led you into the journey of being this catalyst between people and business. So straight after this.
Absolutely.
Christy.
We're busy with Business Lunch with Coach Lindie, and she's chatting to Monique Labat. Lindie.
Monique, during the break you mentioned that your career started maybe as long back as 17 years ago, again based in KZN, in this role where Monique Labat Consulting is a catalyst in connecting people, industry, business, in order to generate business and build business. Maybe just, where did that start for you? Because, I'm always interested to know the origin of things.
Thank you, Lindie. It all started when I worked at the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry. At the time, the Chamber had over 8,000 businesses, and we dealt with corporates, medium-sized businesses as well as smaller businesses, and the needs of a corporate company were very different to medium and small businesses. And I was given the opportunity to head up the membership department, and my role was to go out there and recruit new businesses. And of course it's really a great feather in your cap when you can recruit a corporate company, because their membership subscription was much higher than an entry-level business. And of course you needed to devote more time to play a retention role, so that corporate could understand the value of what they paid to you a year later when you came knocking on their door again. So you definitely had to learn to understand what their needs were, how you were going to respond to those needs. Whilst I was at the Chamber, I had the privilege of being headhunted by the City of Durban to be the General Manager for Investor Support and Marketing for the city. That role meant that I had to travel to international destinations. Many cities around the world are twinned with other cities. So we started, for example, in the United Kingdom, the city of Leeds is twinned with Durban.
Oh, interesting.
I had to give talks to the Leeds Chamber of Commerce. I had to meet with Leeds manufacturers and encourage them to come and set up factories and businesses in Durban.
Incredible.
We traveled to India, and one of the success stories was to encourage an Indian IT company to come and set up in Durban. And those meant that the business-to-business engagements was a great foundation for my learnings and also for my career. And after spending 5 years promoting the city as an investment destination, I was again appointed to set up a trade agency, a global trade agency. Its head office, the World Trade Point Federation, was in Geneva in Switzerland. There were 108 trade points around the world, and it meant that you had to engage internationally, and those networks serve me in good stead to this day. I'm able to speak in front of large audiences. I can ask the correct questions of business to dig down and to understand what are their needs, what are the problem areas, and is there a way in which, through my business-to-business linkages, through the work that my company does, can I bring to the party, to the table, some solutions that they are looking for.
And I think that's exactly, where I think what you do is absolutely fascinating. Monique, can you, are there a couple of highlights? I mean, did the Indian company come and open up a branch in KZN, for instance? I mean, what are some of the highlights that you'd like to spotlight through these years?
Very much so. So Ramco Systems set up operations in KwaZulu-Natal and were awarded various projects as a result of that. And in doing business with international companies, one has to understand that their cultures are quite different. So ensure before you go overseas, before you take part in an international trade exhibition or a conference, learn a little bit about the culture that you are going to travel to, the country you're going to travel to, because you want to ensure that you understand the nuances of different cultures, and you don't want to upset. You want to ensure that the journey together going forward for that linkage is going to be based on good understanding at the outset.
And I think that's what you do really, really well, is the market research up front to advise potential or possible candidates or clients of yours. Look, I think this is a channel to pursue, or let's steer away, let's rather consider Mauritius or Reunion or whatever. So do you also match business opportunities? If you think this won't work but let's go there, then you find yourself a catalyst in that relationship and connection.
Certainly, and there are a number of successes that I can share with you. The largest eyewear manufacturer in the Southern Hemisphere is located on the island of Mauritius. With a staff of over 300 employees, they export to the European Union. The company exports to the USA, but they were interested in seeing whether there was something going in South Africa, and I was able to get them a distribution to 48 eyewear outlets in South Africa. But that took several months before it happened. So market research is critical. Ensure that you understand the size of the market, the nature of the market. Is it for a consumer, or is it for a group of people? Is it for an individual, or is it for the company? All these things are really important when you see whether or not that the match is going to be good in the B2B linkage.
Okay. Christy, when we come back, of course, I'm fascinated by the amazing work that Monique is doing.
Absolutely.
When we come back, of course, a couple of more questions coming Monique's way.
Straight after this one by Westlife on Helderberg FM. Business Lunch with Coach Lindie, a last session, and she's chatting to Monique Labat. Lindie.
Monique, a career spanning over more than 2 decades, surely there's, you've seen some generic themes, lessons, challenges in business. Anything that you'd like to share where you come into play? Anything you'd like to share in that regard?
Lindie, yes, there are a number of examples where I've demonstrated to clients that it's very cost effective to use somebody with specialist skills like myself. If you want to have a swimming pool built in your home or at your school, you go to a swimming pool specialist. You don't necessarily try and build the swimming pool yourself. And the same with skills regarding the networks. It's very cost effective if you come to somebody who's got myriad networks, who is well connected, and by that I don't only mean on social media, but through the business networks. The reason that my company is a member of Chambers of Commerce is because I leverage those networks. The reason that I'm engaged and have been for almost 4 years with ActionCOACH is because of the networks that ActionCOACH brings to my company. And as I've mentioned to you, thanks to you moving here 2 years ago, I've already got 2 clients, thanks to action coach Lindie Malan. These challenges means that if you want to do business in a particular country, be it the Indian Ocean Islands or in Dubai, I was able to assist a manufacturer in KwaZulu-Natal find very quickly the assistance and support from the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition in Pretoria to pay for her trip to Dubai to be able to exhibit at an automotive fair.
Amazing.
So something that cost that client just an afternoon of work. I completed the forms, we submitted them to Pretoria, and within 6 weeks she got the answer. She was on her way to Dubai. And those are the sort of shortcuts that specialists help you with. Shortcuts to time-wise, because we know that every business person, time is of the essence. If you're running a large business, you've got staff to follow up on, you've got logistics, you've got supply. So this is a shortcut, but a shortcut done with the essential market research, with the networks that are available, that will bring you to an answer. Whether that answer suits you, the business client will need to take a decision
saving your
that.
energy, time, just being effective in possible growth opportunities. Monique, do you have a preference for specific industry or sectors in the market?
So the fun sectors I've enjoyed working with are the creative industries. At the moment, I have a client who's exhibiting at Decorex at the Cape Town International Convention Centre, and I've networked her with a number of organizations to help support her. We've got an opportunity for her to promote her products to safari lodges, for example. But industry, pure industry, is really my focus. So working with manufacturers, I have a business associate in California. Why California? Electric vehicles, green hydrogen. California is one of the most networked states in the US. And we know that for the planet, it's really important for us to look at renewables. We've seen in South Africa the uptake in solar energy, for example. So it could be in the renewable energy sector, it could be in the manufacturing sector, it could be in imports and exports. Those are all industry sectors that
where
I
you're
have.
well connected and
Absolutely.
you can make it happen.
Yes.
Monique, I've got to ask you, what gives you hope for what you do, and I suppose industry and business in general in this beautiful country where we live?
Thank you, Lindie. It actually leads on to the previous question or comment that you had for me. So the beauty that is South Africa and the tourism opportunities that exist. Tourism and creative industries are inextricably linked, because the one produces products for the other. So every tourist that comes to South Africa wants to go home with a souvenir. And what better way of doing it, having locally manufactured souvenirs. But something even more interesting, Table Mountain last year had almost 5 million visitors. In the period December-January 2023-2024, there were 1.7 million tourists on Table Mountain.
That's astonishing
and
numbers.
Those tourist shops at the top selling the souvenirs manufactured in South Africa, be it the biltong powder, be it a key ring that has been beaded by a crafter in the province, those are all really important, and tourism creates jobs. So the tourism sector is hopeful that we can leverage that in order to...
And you play such an important part in that, Monique. I mean, do you even understand that you are such a big puzzle piece in this amazing myriad of connections and contacts and business? And I think you're just an eternal optimist. And I think you live and breathe hope. Do you agree with me?
Yes, and I thank every day. I'm grateful for this life that we can live, for the networks that we have, and the people that come across the path that I'm walking along.
In your journey.
In my journey.
Yeah, someone said there one day, the goal is not the destination, the journey is the goal. And I love that. The journey is the goal. Monique, thank you so much. I'm absolutely convinced there's thousands of business owners listening to you thinking, how do I get involved? Where can I find Monique? I need Monique to make things happen for me. Where do we get hold of you?
Lindie, thanks very much. I have a website, very simple, moniquelabat.com. You'll find me on most social media platforms. I have a YouTube channel, and next week I'll be uploading this recording of Helderberg FM on my YouTube channel. You can find me on Instagram as well as very much on LinkedIn. So a lot of the business that I do is through LinkedIn and, of course, Facebook and X.
And you know what? I want to say, Christy, what a breath of fresh air Monique is. Monique, I wish you the very best. And I really want to wish you so much blessings. I mean, you do bring a lot of warmth to so many people. Please continue doing what you're doing. The world will definitely miss you. Should you for one day decide to become a full-time food writer. But I mean, then you will also be blessing the world. So thank you so much for coming in and sharing your amazing story and what you do with us today.
It's been a real pleasure, Lindie. Thanks very much to Action Coach, to you, as well as to Helderberg FM. Thank you, Christy. I've really enjoyed this.
Only a pleasure to have you. Monique, thanks a lot, and the best of luck for the future. And Lindie, I'll see you next week.
Next week, what do we always say? Same time, same day,
place,
different date.
Yeah, exactly. I'll see you then.
Just think about that for one moment, didn't you?
I'll see you then.